Absolutely, yes. And we're going to keep our eye on the Brookings Institution, actually. Thanks, Vanessa, for that report. Fascinating context, important context, and really important to understand that it's these unaccountable, unelected think tanks behind the scenes that are really setting the agenda, whether that's through the escalation of the conflict in the Middle East that we've seen over the past few days, or indeed, and I think people need to really think about this, in the formulation of global political and economic policy that's currently being rolled out by our political leaders. So the Brookings Institution is involved in planning conflict with Syria. It's also directly involved in the strategy and delivery of the Sustainable Development Goals through this initiative. It's the 17 rooms. So this is all about rejuvenating the Sustainable Development Goals through shared action. And this is a collaboration between the Brookings Centre for Sustainable Development, you can just see in the bottom left-hand side there, and the Rockefeller Foundation. And as Vanessa's just pointed out, the Rockefeller Foundation actually provided the seed funding for the Brookings Institution, which means actually what we're looking at here is just one single power structure that is dictating terms to the rest of humanity. What is 17 rooms? So it's a grand international convening of political, corporate, and NGO types. Nothing democratic about this whatsoever. Happens once a year since 2018. They all get together. They have a lovely time. They collaborate, think creatively, get around their blind spots, work with a dream team of experts, make connections, spark action, and just go for it, right? That's what they're up to. In 2024, there were over 100 people involved across each of the 17 rooms. So essentially, they create a room where a discussion is convened, one for each sustainable development goal. And you've got people there from JP Morgan, the Clinton Foundation, the Blair Institute, very heavy NGO focused, a lot of academics in the rooms. Importantly, though, there were only 2 co-chairs. Right, so this is essentially about manufacturing a narrative of collaboration around something which is actually only properly understood by these 2. Yeah, so this is Zia Khan, the Senior Vice President of Innovation at the Rockefeller Foundation, and John McArthur, Director of the Centre of Sustainable Development at the Brookings Institution, clearly loves the SDGs. Where can I get my hands on one of those T-shirts? Isn't that just fantastic, right? But ultimately, I guess the point I'm making is that we get a lot of communication delivered to us about the Sustainable Development Goals and the UN and the democratic processes that surround it. But actually, it's these 2 guys that are in control of this, right? Just 2 people, and obviously the boards that sit behind them. But the idea that this is based on the shared understanding and best endeavours of the whole of humanity is really ludicrous, right? And this is crucial for people to understand, not least because, as Vanessa's established, the Brookings Institution has been helping to define the strategy for regime change in Iran. So the people dying in the Middle East currently based on the thinking put forward by these people, but also because the SDGs are being used by people like Lisa Witter at the Apolitical Foundation, who's a young global leader of the World Economic Forum, to reshape our political system from the top to the bottom. It's what they're up to right now. And also to drive this global public-private partnership, this integration of government and financial market interest, best evidenced through the strategic partnership that was signed in 2019 between the UN and the World Economic Forum, Uncle Klaus and Antonio Guterres. We can just see here, very proud of the fact that they've signed a strategic partnership in order to deliver the Sustainable Development Goals, which were developed by the same people who are escalating conflict in the Middle East right now. And importantly, as we'll get into, and Sandy's going to come and touch on this, and I'm going to come back and speak about this as well, the thing that Brookings are most particularly concerned about on their website, this is the most recent post from May the 15th, is building state and local government innovation capacity. They want to transform our local councils, and there'll be much more on that as we go along in the show.
Super, excellent. Thank you very much, Ben. And it's all about these connections, most of them, of course, entirely inappropriate. And Sandy, on that theme,